Welcome to
What?
The game.
Me.
To me.
Going on, everybody? What's going on? Jelani Brown back with another episode of What the Game Means to Me. It's gonna be my first episode. Last week was supposed to be my first one, but this week's gonna be my first episode of my Atlanta Falcons. Getting on, talk about the previous week's game with my Falcons, a few other NFL teams, and just my project for my team to still be doing after each week. And we're gonna get into it. Hope you guys like my graphics. I'm getting into the story about the graphics. I try to spice it up and do a whole bunch of good, nice little things for them, and they go in, shit one away. Excuse my language, shit one away on Sunday. And I'm gonna have a special guest on with for my Cowboy fans. Anybody that's watching, I'm gonna have a special guest on coming in soon. Mo Cheese, my guy off the ball network. He'll probably come on and give me a little bit of shit. So before that happens, I'll be able to get into my spiel, everything that I saw, what I thought about the game. And as you guys see right here, we'll go through a few of the highlight plays. I'll talk to him and see what his feelings was like throughout the game, and how he felt. Obviously towards the end, everything that went on and what happened. But I'm gonna start out with what I talked about a little bit last week. I messed up on my show and I had to restart it, but I'm gonna talk about the 3 key things that I thought we had to focus in on, coming into Sunday when we faced Dallas. The first one was they pretty much, when I surveyed and looked at them, they're just like us. Young defense, explosive offense. Got 2 highly talented backs, got 2 very capable quarterbacks, have a tandem of receivers that can go off at any moment in time. So that's the first thing. I was like, we're pretty much facing a team like us. But the thing and difference was that during their first week, they had a lot of injuries, like Vander Esch, their starting linebacker, injured. They're starting tight end, I think Jarwin, injured. Like they had a lot of key injuries to key guys that was supposed to contribute this year for them. And unfortunately, we came out of week 1 pretty healthy. So I was like, we got to win that matchup. They're gonna have backups, and we're pretty healthy. I probably jinked us because we had a lot of starters and key role players go out as well on Sunday. But I was like, if we win that battle, we should be good. They also have a young secondary, like I said. So if we take advantage of that, start throwing in the air, but also control the game with our ground game, we should be fine. We should come out here with a win easily. I couldn't have asked for a more perfect start from a Falcons team like ever. I don't think I've ever seen a more perfect start for them. The Dallas basically fumbled the ball 5 times in the span of maybe 4 or 5 minutes. We only recovered 3 of them, but forcing 5 fumbles and recovering 3 in the first quarter and being up what were we up 20-0 in the first quarter, I could not have asked for a better start at all, like whatsoever. Like there's nothing more I could have asked of the team on both sides. The only thing was, of course, and I'll get into it later, was offense not converting all the time when we had those short fields. We converted and got field goals out of it. But if we'd had touchdowns after it, just like Seattle did when we was going for it on 4th downs the week prior, then wouldn't have even been a competition, wouldn't have been a story. This wouldn't even happen. But it shouldn't even happen to begin with, regardless if we were scoring field goals or we were scoring touchdowns. And, like I said, the highlights will show why. But being a Falcons fan, you always know, the joke now is, no lead is safe ever. No lead is safe. But the feeling, I don't know. The difference, I had a different feeling with, the Super Bowl, our 28-3 collapse. I had a different feeling about that. I don't know if it's just because my stepdad, he's a Patriots fan who was watching the game together, or if it's just, the greatness or whatever of Tom Brady, or what the case may be. But that game, I had a different feeling. I always talk about it when I talk about, that 28-3, people bring it up. I always say there was one specific instance in that game to where I knew we was going to lose, and we were still up 28-3 or 28-10, something like that. And it was just a random play, like something crazy that I think it wasn't the catch off of the foot for Elderman. It wasn't anything like spectacular that you might remember from Super Bowl. It was just one little instance. I think a linebacker, Levante Campbell, like missed a tackle or something. I was like, Jesus Christ, we're gonna lose this game. They'll come back and win. So that's like I said, it's never a safe league when you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, and we've learned that over the course of 4 years. Even though we've only lost like 3 games in this sort of fashion within last 10, 15 years, but still. All right, I'm bringing my guy Mo. Let him talk his shit. Let me see who's here. What's going on, Mo? You can hear me?
Yeah, am I coming in a little choppy still?
No, you're good. You're perfect now, bro. All good on your end.
Yeah, I was listening. I was listening to your spill about the Falcons.
Yeah, of course. I know. What's up? This is my guy Mo. My off the ball network brother. Coming in. Cowboys fan, had to get his thoughts and opinions, and how he felt just over the course of the game as everything was unfolding. But this is actually our first podcast together. We normally do it with the other guys, but
Yeah.
It's interesting that this is the first one that we're gonna do together. But I'm gonna let him introduce himself. His podcast, and then of course talk a little bit about how he was feeling over the course of the game.
Yeah. Shout out to Jelani for having me. All I'm gonna say is hopefully the connection stays so I could be on here for a second. I appreciate you for having me. Like he said, we're on the Off the Ball Network together. I'm the VP. I also have my own podcast, Up in Flames. Wrote an article for the network already, kind of working on expanding, working, things like that. But, don't want to talk too much on myself. I want to talk about this game that gave me all different types of emotions, bro. I'm not going to lie.
All types.
I didn't think – I'm going to be honest. When y'all were up 20-0, I know Falcons – like I was actually watching it with one of my guys, big Falcons fan, bro, from Georgia. And he was like, man, we're going to blow this lead. I said, no. I was like, if there's anything worse than doing some Atlanta things, is doing some Cowboys things, which means we just going to go out there and get blown out the water. And even still, when we came back, that onside kick was ridiculous. Should have never happened. Somebody needs to get fired, kicked off the team, something.
We'll get into that for sure. Like, oh my God. It's crazy.
But I even still thought, I was like, it'll be the Cowboys thing to get us right there to miss the field goal. Like, that was kind of my thought. I was like, we're gonna miss the field goal. We got it right there. We got lucky enough to get the onside kick. Nobody gets onside kicks anymore. So for us to get the onside kick, I was like, okay. Then CD Lamb dude slipped in coverage, and CD Lamb caught that pass. I said, oh man, it's set up big time for us to.
I was thinking it was a push off, and he tried to sell it, but I was like,
I did too. For a second, I'm like, there's no way CD Lamb was just that wide open in a crucial moment, but he just slipped. Things happen. Like, I don't blame that guy for slipping in coverage. Things happen.
It don't come down to that. It wasn't even that. It shouldn't even have came down to that at all.
Yeah, that's the normal part. Like, that's the normal part of the game, bro, is slipping in coverage. But that onside kick, dude went and did a little basketball box out on the onside kick.
I was like, bro, what?
I think he must have thought he had to wait 10 yards. That's my assumption.
That's what everybody's saying, too. That's what everybody's saying. But before we get into that, because that's definitely, discussion point, probably what's going to take most of our time up. I wanted to, talk about the first part of the game was, of course, I messaged you in a little group message. I was like, damn, y'all can't hold on to the ball at all. Like, y'all fumbled, I said it earlier, but fumbled like 5 times in the span of 5 minutes. We only recovered 3 of them, I want to say. But I was like, all right, can't ask for a more perfect start at all. Like, whatsoever. We fumbled, we're on our side of the field or on your side of the field, driving. Few of them, we got a touchdown. I think maybe one, the other 2 was field goals. But kind of like you said, what was you kind of thinking, like, when everybody was fumbling the ball? Like, Elliott fumbled, didn't expect him to do it. I think Dak fumbled. Your tight end, I forgot the backup tight end's name. He fumbled. Schultz, I was like, what's going on? Schultz. Yeah, I was like, why can't no one hold on to the ball?
Bro, I'm going to be honest. Watching that and watching them just let go of the ball, I said, okay. Because to me, it was an even matchup. Atlanta and Dallas was an even matchup to me. It could have went 50-50. I hesitated betting on the game with homeboys because I'm like, it's a toss-up. I think it's an even match team, very strong offense, 2 very strong offenses. To me, 2 very weak defenses, and that showed in that game. Like, so that was my biggest thing. Was like, we're very even with Atlanta. I hold Atlanta to a higher standard than a lot of other people. Like, to me, they've been disappointing, but I always expect them to be better. I mean, their offense is crazy. You got Julio, now you got Todd Gurley, Smith, the backup running back is nice. Calvin Ridley is ridiculous. Like, Matt Ryan isn't a bum at all. I've always been a fan of Matt Ryan and what he does. So I felt like it was an evenly matched up team. Like, all right, we're going to very high scoring, 2 bad defenses, 2 really good offenses going at it. point for point, touchdown for touchdown, field goal for field goal. That was the assumption. And when we giving up the ball, like just handing them the ball, it should have never came down. It should have been a shootout the whole game. That game should have been a shootout the whole game.
My fault. I think me taking the share screen off actually messed up. I'm gonna throw it back on real quick. But yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. I said it in the beginning. 2 weak defenses, 2 young defenses, and 2 very, very strong offenses capable of, putting up as many points as they did put up. I was saying last week when I kind of did the show, I messed up on it, but I was like, the edge that we have or what we should have took advantage of was, I know you guys had a lot of week 1 injuries to key guys and key positions, like Van Der Esch, linebacker, was out. Jarwin, he's starting tight end. He got hurt. A few other people got hurt. And then you had your starting tackles out as well. So I was like, all right, we should be able to rush the passer. We should be able to, get to the quarterback, get to Dak. And in the beginning, we was able to. Dak had a good game. Dak had a great game, actually. What's up, my guy, Ryan? As fans, we deserve to be upset. However, we should be worried about the season this early. I mean, I agree with you. Like I said, it was like there's 14 other more games, but this is one. If we miss the game, miss the playoffs by a game, we're gonna look back at it and it's like, that's the one. Like that's the one we should have had. Starting off 1-1. But
so with that whole game, can I just ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, ask me, of course.
What play stood out to you the most? What play really came down to why y'all lost that game?
Honestly, I guess my feeling throughout the whole thing, like this one, I had a different feeling about this one versus, of course, like 28-3. 28-3, I knew for a fact. I had some type of inkling we were going to lose the game. I just knew it was just too good to be true how everything was playing out. This one, I didn't have that feeling. I was like, all right, we should be able to close it out. Even when y'all started to creep back in, like, because it was slowly happening. Like, we was making field goals or, we was having good drives, but it would stall out. And then you guys start, scoring touchdowns. You guys had, like, 2 quick touchdowns, I think, within, like, 4 or 5 minutes. So I was like, all right, we still got it. It's like 39-24. Like, it should still be all right. We should still have it, even though y'all scored another touchdown as well. But I think the plays that get me upset, and it's really not anybody's fault, but the ones I'm just like, wow, why not? Was the trick play with Julio Jones. I felt like he should have caught it. I know he was dealing a little bit with a hamstring, and he said that part helped him. Not helped him, but affected him getting to the ball and catching it. But he was there. Like it was there. I think it was just a constant position. He was there. So like that's when I wish we could have got back because that was easily touchdown. And then even with that, we was gonna go for it that next play, and I know we was gonna get it for a fact. We was already either 1 for 1 or 2 for 2 on 4th downs, and they was actually making better 4th down play calls this week than last week. So I was like, all right, we're gonna go for it. We're only 2 yards away. We'll make it. We'll get it. We'll probably drive and either get a field goal out of it or a touchdown. Penalty killed us. I think we punted. So I'm just like, all right, those 2 things specifically what speaks out, or is what I pointed to the most, to where it's like we could have put the game away, even though the game should have been put away way earlier than that. Like I say, in the first quarter, we started to stall out and we had to kick field goals instead of, actually going in and scoring touchdowns. We only scored, I think, maybe 1 touchdown out of the 3 fumbles we got. And if we just scored touchdowns from the beginning, it was 20-0, 3 touchdowns. What is that? That's 21. And then we scored a touchdown on our own. It should have been like somewhere between like 28-0 first quarter. And then later on in the game, there's a few drives that we, were driving. We end up getting, field goals out of it as well. I think who had to have, I think, like 4 field goals. Regardless, but those field goals could have turned into touchdowns. If they would have turned into touchdowns, the game would have been put away a long time ago. But as it shows, I said it too. I think I might have jinxed us. We had a lot of injuries, and especially on the defensive side. Ricardo Allen went out. Tack, like I said, was having a good start to the game, getting a lot of good pressure. He went out. The linebacker that forced fumbles that played with Elliott Luakon, he went out. Who else went out? Somebody went. It was like 4 key defensive players that went out. But even with that, we had guys that came in and stepped up and played better. But it's just like I said, I never had that feeling. But as the game, went on, obviously you saw it just kind of slipped. We just kind of gave it away. We didn't take advantage of the opportunities that were handed to us. Kicking field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. And Obviously, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it really was the defensive call. I didn't, honestly, to be completely honest, I didn't focus too much on the defensive call because, like, even though you guys were creeping back, I was, I still had the same concerns. Our secondary is very young, and we was having key injuries, but I felt like you guys were eventually going to catch on. Y'all were going to score because y'all have a high opponent offense. Like, there was no way y'all weren't going to score eventually. But I never really looked and see like how quickly you guys could come back. But that 2 touchdown turnarounds really helped it. I know I'm talking a little bit too much. Like, kind of like, what did you see from your end of it?
That the Julio play to me, like, yes, you're always gonna go back to the onside kick, of course, because that was like the last effort of stopping us from coming back. Y'all recover it, we don't win the game, obviously. But the Julio drop touchdown pass to me, when I watch it, I watch a game with my guy, he's a Falcons fan. I said, bro, if for some odd reason we come back and we win this game, it's gonna come down to that Julio drop. Julio don't drop passes. That's one thing he doesn't do. He's not big on dropping passes. Him, Hopkins, Michael Thomas, those are guaranteed hands right there. Larry Fitzgerald for the longest, even to this day, those are some guaranteed hands. I understand his hamstring. I even seen it on the route. He started limping a little bit. He did, like, he made that move and he limped a little bit, but it still dropped in his hand. So I understand, like, maybe his focus was on the hamstring for that second. But, like, you're Julio Jones, and, like, I know he doesn't hold that as an excuse to himself. I know he holds himself to a high standard. And I know probably after that game he was beating himself up about it. And, yeah, he was playing hurt. We knew. He was limping off the field every other play. Like, it got to a point where he was playing every other play. He was limping off the field. He was injured. And I said, that had a lot to do. We didn't have a corner that could stop him. So, him having one catch for 5 yards up to the point in the fourth quarter, like, come on. We ain't have a guy that could stop Julio. He was hurt, and I give him that. But he still played. He toughed it out. Sometimes just his presence on the field kind of changes the way you play a defense. Because you'll be like, he's hurt, but you're not going to put your worst corner on him because he might not be that hurt, so... But him dropping that pass to me was like the biggest deal, and then even turning around and getting that penalty. What was it, like 4th and 3, maybe 4th and 4? Like, it would have been like it was real close. So, and like you said, the play calling was great. I kind of Atlanta got a lot of guys. I don't really hate Atlanta. I don't have a reason to. Dallas don't have a beef with Atlanta. And they got a lot of stories. I like Julio. I like Todd Gurley. Like, I like the underdog thing where Todd Gurley was considered great. Got the injury. Now he's washed up. Like, I like that he's looking really good in the Atlanta uniform. Of all the people that bounced around, Todd Gurley looks the most normal in a new uniform out of everybody that moved around. So, but like, I don't have a problem with Atlanta. I just love that, when my team beats a team, that one of you guys love is just nature to talk trash and kind of never live it down. The first thing when we kept fumbling, dang, Mo, y'all can't hold on to the ball. Wasn't trash talk, but it was like, Jesus, you just gonna we literally was handing y'all the game. So, and Dak said it. Dak said it at the end, hey, we showed resiliency. Yeah, but I think it was more so luck and bad play calling and mistakes on Atlanta's side than it was the resiliency and toughness of Dallas. Because, I mean, you take away those fumbles, that game changes. Because there were points in time where Atlanta couldn't stop us from marching down the field. You take away our mistakes, and that game, I think, turns into a real shootout. Like, I think that's going point for point. And that's where we be talking about field goals mattered instead of a touchdown. That's where you'll pick apart the little things. But I think we would have went point for point. I was thinking, 35-34 kind of game. So the score didn't shock me. It was just the way we got to the score that really surprised me. I mean, down 20-0, I figured it was over. Like, we had beat ourselves up. We were turning over the ball. Like, sometimes there's no coming back from that. So they did stay mentally tough. And I think Atlanta got a little lackadaisical. And that's what made the difference is we stayed in the game, and Atlanta got a little lazy. Up 20-0, you're dominating Dallas. They gave you the ball 4 or 5 times. You know what I'm saying? So, but for Dak to have over 450 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, like he had a great game. Zeke has some really big runs. I don't think he reached over 100, but he has some key runs where he got some first downs or gave us that on first down, got 5-6 yards. So yeah, he did his thing, bro. So I mean, I won't say I'm satisfied and proud of the Cowboys. I'm glad we won that game, but I'm not gonna hold that game and say, yeah, that's gonna be the turnaround of our season. It's only week 2. I don't want to judge a lot of teams, a lot of players based off the first 2 weeks. We all know the first 4 weeks are kind of get back in the game mode. The real season
exactly.
starts after week 4. So I don't want to hold too much weight on the Cowboys win. Yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan, and probably all the Cowboys nation is going crazy, and we're going to the Super Bowl. It wasn't a great win. It was a lucky win. Take it for what it is. We're 1-1 instead of being 0-2. So I'll take that. I will accept it. But where there are a lot of flaws in that game, a lot, and from star players like Zeke, Dak, y'all not supposed to be giving up the ball. Like, our star players are supposed to come in and clutch moments. We're not supposed to be losing because of your mistakes. So I get they do make mistakes. Nobody's going to have no fumbles, no interceptions. I understand that. But just to take yourself out of the game in the first quarter, especially Dak. Like, Dak, you want to be a $40 million quarterback. You got to show us. And he ended up showing us that he was, he showed his toughness, thought he was going to be knocked out of the game with the concussion. But, I'm not going to say I'm overall proud. I'm just glad we pulled out the W. That's where I'm at with Dallas this week, is I'm glad we pulled out the W.
Exactly. And he spoke to a few things I wanted to touch on too. Like my guy, I already showed it earlier, Ryan, he was saying, should we be so worried? It's 14 games left in the season. And I told you in the little group message, I was like, I might have honestly saved our season with this type of loss. And that might sound crazy and ridiculous, but I'll definitely get into it later. I feel like y'all saved it because, like you said, we got lackadaisical, and throughout the rest of the game from that first quarter, you can kind of see it. Like, Matt Ryan obviously, played up to par. He did everything he had to do. Like, we're making history by being good. We literally the first team. I know everybody has seen it by now. First team to score 39 points, 0 turnovers, and still lose a game. And then obviously y'all didn't lead not 1 second of the game. Like, we're making history, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do. And one thing I forgot to say before you got on and everything, like the Falcon, as a Falcon fan, I can see, like, our Falcons our fandom or our fans, they're not really fans. I don't even know really what to call them, because, like, the easy thing is they just always love to point to Matt Ryan, say, like, it's his fault. Like, he's like he's supposed to turn around and play defense. Like, he's the one calling the plays on both sides of the ball. Like, he's the one on hands team. Like, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong last week. And he didn't do anything wrong this week. Honestly, like, he's played up to par. He's top 5, I think, and probably leading all quarterback. Can't even think right now. Statistics and stuff. Like, he's not. There's nothing that he's had done wrong. Like, this one was solely like a team type effort. Like, yes, like play calling. I think on offense, I think I said it last week. Like, we're aggressive when we don't need to be, and we're not aggressive enough when we can be. Like, we could have had a lot more down the field shots. Like you said, y'all have a young secondary. Julio, whether he's healthy or not, like, he's always going to be a threat. Like you said, we never know if he's really, that injured. Calvin Ridley's balling out. You see Russell we had 3 receivers go over 100 yards. Like push the ball more downfield. And they're starting to, obviously, they're looking for a balanced offense. They want to hand, Todd Gurley the ball. But it's like certain times, it's like they phase him out of the game. And, like, he'll be in, like, 1 or 2 series, and then you'll see our backup running backs in, like, the next 2, 3, 4 series. It's like you got to let him get some type of, rhythm, like, hand him the ball and, like, run plays that's designed for him. Like, to me, honestly, he looks like a step slow. And I was looking at the highlights last week when we played Seattle, and there was one specific run where he had a wide open hole. It was 1-on-1 with him and Quadron Diggs, or whatever his name. I forgot his first name, but Diggs for Seattle. Diggs literally slipped, was like back on his hand. If he'd have made one cut and hit the left, like made one cut left, he'd have been off and running. And like I said, 2017, 2018, Gurley would have done that. But to me, he looked a little like a step slow, but it's not. I understand, because they didn't have a proper offseason. They didn't have a proper, OTAs and everything. They didn't have preseason games. So I'm understanding he's going to need, for him, probably like 4, maybe even 5 weeks to get accustomed to our offense and, just getting back out on the field in general. But like with us, Dirk Cutter's running him up the middle, like stretch, get some stretch zones going, get some toss sweeps going, get something going that fits our offensive scheme, because we don't really have power lineman that's just gonna bulldoze, and he's gonna be able to run dives all the time. Like, we're a stretch toss type team, to where we got to get some things going for him. So it's like, for me, I wish they wouldn't phase him out the game as much as they have been. And of course, like I said, take those shots down the field when you can, because like I said, we was facing a team just like us. We know they, like, your guys' defense was dealing with injuries, and y'all weren't even getting any pressure. Like I thought y'all were gonna get a lot of pressure on Matt Ryan because, like I said, our line is still, in the making, and y'all have, a lot of good pass rushers. Everson Griffin, you got Alden Smith who's been playing great. A lot of great pass rushers. So I thought y'all were gonna get pressure on us from the beginning. It didn't happen like that. I think Matt Ryan maybe only got sacked maybe once, maybe twice, and that means he had time to throw the ball, push it down the field. We got these receivers, so it's like that probably was a part of it too. Our offensive, game plan, like you said, just got lax. Was running certain stuff, drives, and obviously the mistake that we're gonna get to in a second. About to play the highlights and kind of let you, react to how. One thing I want to say is, my dad texted me too. My dad texted me after the game, and I was like, I really didn't want to hear. I just like, I know my coach, I know my team. I already could foretell this was gonna happen. He was like, I knew they was gonna do something dumb, but I didn't think they was gonna do something that dumb. And I was like, they called a timeout before the onside kick even happened. So the whole time, like when they came out the timeout, I was like, you know what? They probably gonna get this onside kick. I don't know what they talked about. I don't know why they called a timeout to begin with. It's like something y'all kind of should already know. Everything you kind of go through practice, everything situational type stuff. So I was like, when they called the timeout, I for sure knew that something dumb was gonna happen, but I didn't think it was gonna happen like that. I just thought it was gonna be a good onside kick, and we just wasn't gonna get it. But it was something so simple and plain to where you just fall on the ball, and it was 4 or 5 other guys that we're going to see in a second that could have just easily fell on the ball. And even Julio was kind of first line of defense and you see that the guys in front of you are phasing out, backing up away from the ball. To me, if I was in this position, I would have, tried to bust through that first line and just try to at least dive on the ball, made it some type of competition, even try to knock the ball out of bounds or something. Because, in that type of situation, you see it's going 10 yards, you see they're backing up still. Like, he's the second line of defense. Like I said, it's not ideal for him to bust through, but it's something, you just got to do something. But I'm going to play these highlights real quick. We last little thing, I guess we'll go through and before we look ahead, for the next week. And I'll give my spiel on why I agree with Ryan that it's not time for us to, hang up the season yet. I think y'all guys actually might have saved it. But I'm going to play through these highlights real quick. Let you kind of maybe talk about like what you was feeling.
Miserable for like the first 75 minutes of it. Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. I still got you. I was just making sure everything was good. Let's go. Fumble number 1.
This was terrible.
Oh, come on. Look at that. Just don't stop. Okay, there we go. Oh. There we go. Who got it last year, but I had somebody.
It's still it was
who it was last year.
It wasn't about having Zerline for me though. It was just about the Cowboys will be the Cowboys at the end of the day. Like, and he would have fell to the jinx of being the Cowboys kicker and missed. Big leg Greg would have missed because he's got a Cowboy star on his head now, and that's just what we do. We march all the way down there, get all the way to that point where if you make this field goal, you win the game, and then you miss. Like that happens.
Yep. For me, I was thinking it might possibly be like, say, the kicker in the situation, but I forgot. Like I said, it was Greg Zerline, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be automatic from wherever they get the ball to. And if it's somewhere in the 50-yard range, they're gonna make it. And I personally, I sat on my bed all the way until Sunday Night Football came on. Just reading everybody's tweets. Us getting clowned. Trying to wait on media to tell me what Julio, Matt Ryan, Dan Quinn has to say, and I'm just sitting there like just dumbfounded. Like I think I tweeted a few things. I tweeted. I was like, it didn't even feel real. Like I really felt like I was floating. Like it wasn't even like something that had just happened that occurred. Like I literally was just like in just in existence, just in the air, just like holding my phone. I was like, no, bro, that didn't just happen. It didn't just happen. But obviously, it happened. It happened again. And I get to continue to see these 20-0s compared to the 28-3, comeback losses now. But I wanted to, before we, get off, I kind of wanted to look ahead to a few things. You kind of already said it, but what this win might do for you guys and where you kind of foresee, the Cowboys going. And then I'll, talk a little bit about why I think this was why you guys helped save our season, in a sense.
Yeah, I don't want to overreact. Sloppy win, we got the W. I don't know. It's like part of me wants to bring the real Cowboy fan, which is why everybody hates us, and just say, yeah, this is going to be the start. But, like, I'm realistic when it comes to my Cowboys, and I don't want to get too excited over a win that we took. Like, got lucky and took. Like, we didn't really deserve that win. We didn't earn that win. There's nothing like, there's not really moments in the game where we played great, and you're like, yeah, we going to get to marching. I think our biggest hope is the whole NFC East sucks. Everybody in the NFC East sucks. So
yeah, everybody.
I think this year we'll come out on top as actually being the best of the worst division. And I'm okay with that. Sometimes if we get to rolling and that just becomes, well, you're the best in the worst division. Hey, well, I don't care what everybody say all year about Dallas and y'all the best or worst division. That's fine. The NFC East is terrible. I get it. The Patriots were this for the longest, dealing with the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins. So I really don't want to hear about the worst division, best of the worst division, even though the Patriots were turning in the Super Bowls because they showed what they got when they matched up against those top teams. So looking ahead, bro, is like I want to take it week by week with Dallas. I don't want to take too much away from victories. I don't want to take too much from losses. Unless we start piling up a lot of W's in a W column or we start piling up a lot of L's in a loss column, then, I'll start kind of going one way or the other. I'm just on the fence, holding hope. Let's take it week by week. Our schedule isn't that tough. We got some hitters on there. We got the Rams out the way. Falcons were actually one of the tougher teams on the schedule. We got the Ravens later in the season. We got the Steelers, the Browns. The Browns are bums, but we got the Steelers, we got the Ravens. Like, we got some games where, like, but overall we have not played a division. We haven't played nobody in the division yet. So we got the Eagles twice. We might go 6-0 in our division. If we could go 8-8, so if we could pull off another victory from somewhere, we got one. If we could go 6-0 in our division.
Hold on. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I like I said, I completely agree that you guys are probably definitely going 6-0 in the division because Saquon out now. They'll probably eventually, find some type of running back, some type of backup. I think they'll probably end up signing Devontae Freeman. Honestly, he made a trip up there, and that'll be, I guess, great for them. I mean, it's not the same as having Saquon, but it definitely gives you a viable back that's versatile. But even with that, their defense is trash. Offense needs work. Danny Dimes isn't. I mean, I don't know. I just got mixed feelings about him right now. He's not playing that great turnover machine in my eyes. And then, like you said, Eagles are trash. They have no wide receivers. And Washington defense is playing a lot better. Defensive line playing a lot better, but they just got smoked this past weekend. So who knows? They're probably up in the air. Up and down each and every week. In the division, you're getting to the playoffs. It just depends on that spot and that seeding where you guys fall in line, in the heavy, stouted NFC in general. So, like with us, I think what did y'all have y'all going? I don't know if it was 11-5 or 10-6. That was my prediction, somewhere in there. But for us, I'm gonna speak to my guy Ryan. Like you said, we got 14 games left, and that's why I kind of had to remind myself Monday morning that we have 14 games left. And how I predicted us going 11-5, and what I predicted was we're going to lose the first game because we always lose to Seattle, or it's always a close game. But the last few years we've been losing to Seattle. And then I was like, we'll win the Cowboys game. Like I feel like some way somehow we'll win the Cowboys game. And obviously you saw it should have happen. But we didn't, and we're now 0-2. But there's no really reason to panic. And like I said, y'all saved our season because how I see it is, I felt like if we would have won this game and continue through it melodically like we did, and y'all weren't able to find a way to pull it out and come back like y'all did, we would have melodically walked through next week when we played the Bears, which is a team we should beat as well. With Mitch Trubisky still quarterback in that team, that's the team we should beat. But I felt like if we walked into that, we lose that game because we think we're kind of like on a high horse. Like we blew you guys out, blew the Cowboys out. Probably going to lose to the Bears. And then after that, we played the Packers. So I was like, all right, that's another loss. So instead of, we're going to be 1-3. And we could still very well be 1-3 at the end of week 4. But because the games I had us losing was to Seattle, to the Packers. We're splitting with the Saints and Bucks. And then we'll lose to the Chiefs towards the end of the year. So those are the 5 games I had us losing. Besides that, the rest of our schedule is pretty easy. I was going to say we was going to lose to the Vikings and maybe go 10-6, but the Vikings this year have been looking pretty bad. They've had a lot of key injuries on defense, and Kirk Cousins hasn't been playing as great as Kirk Cousins has been playing, I guess, in the past. So I was like, all right, and we always lose to the Vikings, but I was like, all right, that's a game we could probably steal because I think we played that one at home instead of playing away.
Yeah.
And then we played the Raiders, we played the Chargers. Chargers actually looked pretty good yesterday, but I was like, we played the Raiders, and the Raiders too. Actually, they beat the Saints, so I might need to start worrying about those teams a little bit. But at first, I wasn't worried about them because I was like, we play the Vikings, we play the Chargers, play the Raiders, we play one more out of the division team that I can't even remember. We played Carolina twice. We've been beating Carolina for the last 3-4 years consecutively. So I was like, all right, we can still very much pull out this 11-5, but this loss definitely opened up a lot of eyes. Maybe play calling gets better and more aggressive in ways that needs to be aggressive. Like I said, feeding Todd Gurley the ball with runs that he's capable of making some type of play out of. We're more aggressive throwing the ball downfield, and defensively we tighten up. Somehow, some way, the secondary just earned another week. Like they're just gonna have to. My only hope is we just get better week by week. We're gonna be facing a lot of good receivers in the league this year, so they just have to continue to get better week by week. But if our front seven continues to be strong and creates pressure, then we should be fine once we get towards the end of the season where we actually, play the Saints and Bucks twice and the Chiefs. So
yeah,
very much so. I feel like this win was a wake-up call. There's been a lot of losses that people mark as a wake-up call, but I think this one specifically does because Dan Quinn, as we know, is already on the hot seat. He was on the hot seat coming in this year. A loss like this, everyone has been calling for his head to be fired. So, yes, he's been pissed off and, has had wake-up calls in the past, but I think this one probably hits a little differently. Than a lot of other ones, especially the type of year that we're having in general. So I think now we don't walk into next week and possibly lose to the Bears. We beat the Bears. We probably play the Packers close, but still probably lose to them because we're playing in Green Bay. But from there on out, we should start piling up some wins. We play Carolina without Christian McCaffrey, I think, right after that Green Bay game, and possibly play them again because we play him like 2 weeks later. He might not be back then either, so we got to take advantage of that. Take advantage of a rookie coach and a young quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. And like I said, still not too worried, honestly, even though they put out a nice win last night about the Raiders or Chargers. And Vikings, like I said, they started out 0-2 and haven't been that great either. So we still have a very great chance of going 11-5, maybe 10-6, and pushing for some type of wild card spot. Because thinking about it too, nobody in our division is up 2-3 games on this. It's still early. Everybody,
exactly.
The Saints and the Bucks are 1-1. Us and Carolina are 0-2. So there's really no real reason to panic. But as everybody, just as a Falcons fan, is like a shock to have seen like what unfolded and just have that feeling like this could be our season. It just continue, like games continue to happen in this type of way and fashion. But they're pros. They're coaches and they're in positions. They're in the position that they're in for a reason. We trusted Dan Quinn with another year, so I feel like they're going to get it right. Like I said, we don't cakewalk through the next few games. Like I said, we could still very much come out 1-3, but I feel like it'll be a more woke 1-3 if we do, end up losing to the Packers. But I do foresee us. We got to bounce back and beat the Bears at home, even with no fans. I don't think we're able to have fans to October 11th, but I think guys definitely woke us up, and hopefully it shows within the next couple of weeks.
Right.
But yeah, man. Appreciate you again for coming on. Appreciate you again you didn't clown me too much about my Falcons, but I'm glad you're probably one of the only Cowboy fans, of course, that I truly like and respect because you're not super loud. You're not super obnoxious. You know your stuff. You know your football. You know your team, and you're realistic at all times. So definitely appreciate you for having you on, for coming on. Appreciate you for being back. Like I said, definitely looking forward to some future shows with you as well.
Oh yeah,
And talking some
yeah,
sports. I know you're excited as well, man.
yeah.
And yeah, man. Like I said, appreciate you, for coming on. Definitely probably have you on some future ones in the future. And
Yeah, I appreciate
yeah,
you for having me on, bro. I'm glad to be back. You know what I'm saying? I'm be back for a few more months before I go out for a week here and there. But I'm
yeah,
just glad to be back. Glad to be back working with y'all.
yep,
Even when I've been busy, I've been able to check all y'all stuff out,
exactly.
watch it, things like that. But now that we're gonna be back working, hell, this is the first of, as of right
Yeah.
now, 3 set up live shows today. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
you gonna be on one
Yeah, I'll
of
probably be
of the
on Josh.
next two.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Hopefully
like this
so.
is
So
the
I
first of
should be able to get on
possibly.
Josh.
Yeah, this is the first of
3 in
possibly
a
3
day.
live shows, depending on how my connections
Mm-hmm.
go. So, like I said, I appreciate you for having me on. We gonna continue to work, keep grinding. Off the ball network is still gonna
Mm-hmm.
we gonna make it. We gonna do some big things.
Of
I'm
course.
telling you, everybody, just stick with us. So,
Exactly. Appreciate you again. I forgot. We both LeBron guys too. I'll have you on we're gonna try to get a show together, put together next week when they officially go to the NBA finals against whoever they
most
play.
definitely, I'm definitely down for that.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
down for
Yes,
that.
sir. All right, man. Appreciate you guys again. This is the first episode of Atlanta Falcons Fly Through. Appreciate my guy Mo Flames for coming on. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Here's Michael at the shot on Elo. Hey! The win! The win!
Don't you open your mouth. Send it for you real.